This week's parsha of Behar, we begin to learn about the mitzvah of Shemitah, the sabbatical year. 6 years we can work the land in Israel. In the 7th year we must rest the land, similar to the Shabbos, where we work 6 days a week and we rest on the 7th. But what's interesting is the first verse in this week's Torah portion talks about the location where this mitzvah was given. Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe Behar Sinai Lemor. God spoke to Moshe at Mount Sinai, and Rashi asked the famous question: is what difference does it make in what location this mitzvah was communicated? After all, it would seem immaterial. Where was, for example, the mitzvah of mezuzah given, or the mitzvah of Shabbos taught to the Jewish people? Is that really important about the location? So why does the Torah seem to go ahead and put such a premium on the location when it comes to the mitzvah of the Shemitah? So Rashi famously says that just like Shemitah, not only was the general rule taught at Sinai, but the specifics, or as we would say today, the nuts and bolts, were also taught at Sinai. So too, every other mitzvah that is not as elaborated in the Torah, and we just find the general rule, the nuts and bolts were also taught at Sinai. But I just want to elaborate on this because I think there's a big connection between the concept of Shemitah, the sabbatical year, and what Sinai represents. Because there was a story once that this rabbi in the Talmud, his name was Rava, he was studying, and this person came over to him and said, you know, you Jews are supposed to be good business people, you know, and I would think that when you get a proposal, first you say, let me read the proposal, and then I'll decide if I want to sign, if I want to buy. So why, when God came to the Jewish people and said, do you want to go ahead and receive the Torah, we said, Nasa v'nishma, we'll sign and then we'll hear. You know, what kind of business people are you? So Rava said to him famously, if this was a business relationship, you're correct, then we would have to go ahead and study the proposal, and then we would have to go ahead and we decide whether or not the terms are acceptable. This was not a business proposal. This was a coming from God that has a loving relationship with us. And when we have a loving relationship with God, we're able to go ahead and respond in a different fashion. When someone that loves you asks a question, it's not a business question. And therefore we're able to say Nasa v'nishma. That's the idea of Sinai relating to Shemitah. Why would someone walk away from the land for a full year and give up an income stream for a full year? You know, just because God asked you to do so? But what's the logic in that? And the answer is, it's not just coming from God, it's coming from a loving God that's asking us. When someone that loves you that asks you to do something, you have a much different response. And that's the connection between Sinai and the Shemitah, understanding that our relationship with God is one that should be based on love. Folks, in our life, many times we wonder about faith, and if that means blind faith, and we don't understand, but we'll do it anyways. But let us remember the mitzvah of Shemitah, and let us remember that the foundation of our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with God, is always based on love. Have a wonderful Shabbos.